ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नारायण नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Hare Krishna. So this morning we are reading from Canto 3rd, chapter 4th, and verse is 17. It's displaying on the screens. Mantreshu mam va upahuyatva
Mantreshu mamapahuyatvam
akuntita khanda sadatma bodha
akutitakandasattva
prachaha prabho mukta iva paramatas प्रचे प्रभो मुक्त तन्नो मनो मोहयाति वा देवा मंत्रेषु मां वा उपाह्ययत्वम् अकुण्ठिता खण्डा सदात्मबोधः पृच्छे प्रभो मुक्त इवा प्रमादः तन्नो मनो मोहयाति वा देवा मंत्रेषु मां वा उपाह्ययत्वम् अकुण्ठिता खण्डा सदात्मबोधः पृच्छे प्रभो मुक्ता इवा प्रमत्तः तन्नो मनो मोहयाति वा देवा. Anyone would like to repeat?
Mantreshu mamba upayo yatvam.
Mantreshu mamba upayo yatvam.
Akuntita kanda sadatma bodha.
Akuntita sadatma bodha.
Shri Prabhu Mukta Ivam Pramatas.
Prache Prabhu Mukta Iva Pramatas.
Tando Mano Moyata Eva Deva.
Tanno Mano Moyayate Deva.
Mantreshu mam va upahuyayatvam.
Mantreshu mam va upahyayat.
Akuntita khanda sadatma bodha.
Akuntita khanda sadatma bodha.
Prichehe prabho mukta iva pramatsa.
Pricheha Prabhu Mukta Iva Pramatas.
Tanno mano mohyati vadeva.
Tanno Mano Mohati. Mantreshu Mam Eva Upayatvam. Akuntita Khanda Sadatma Bodha. Pricheha Prabhu Mukta Iva Pramatas. Tanno Mano Mohati. Mantreshu Mam Upayatvam. Akuntita Sadatma Bodha. Pricheha
Tanno mano mohyati vadeva.
Mantreshu mam va upavya yatvam. Akutita kanda kadama bodha. Riche prabhu mukta iva pramatas. Thank you. Mantreshu mam va upavya yatvam. Akuntita kanda sadatma. Riche prabhu mukta iva pramatas. Mantreshu mam va upavya yatvam. Akuntita kanda sadatma. Thank you so much for chanting. Mantreshu. In consultations, Mam, onto me, Vai, as either, Upahuya, by calling, Yat, as much as, Tvam, your lordship, Akuntita, without hesitation, Akhanda, without being separated, Sada, eternally, Atma, self, Bodha, intelligent, Prachaha, asked, Prabhu, O my Lord, Muktaha, bewildered, Eva, as if it were so, Apramataha, although never bewildered, Tat, that, Na, our, Manaha, mind, Mohayati, bewilders, Eva, as it is so, Deva, O my Lord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O my Lord, your eternal self is never divided by the influence of time, and there is no limitation to your perfect knowledge. Thus, you were sufficiently able to consult with yourself. Yet you called upon me for consultation, as if bewildered, although you are never bewildered, as this act of yours bewilders me. Purport. Uddhava was never actually bewildered, but he says that all these contradictions appear to be bewildering. The whole discussion between Krishna and Uddhava was meant for the benefit of Maitreya, who was sitting nearby. The Lord used to call Uddhava for consultation when the city was attacked by Jarasandha and others, and when he executed great sacrifices as part of his routine royal work as Lord of Dwarka. The Lord has no past, present, and future because he is unhampered by the influence of eternal time, and thus nothing is hidden from him. He is eternally self intelligent. Therefore, his calling for Uddhava to give him enlightenment is certainly astonishing. All these actions of the Lord appear to be contradictory, although there is no contradiction in the routine activities of the Lord. Therefore, it is better to see them as they are and not attempt to explain them. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadativa Pradantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachyate Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhuvaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Hare Krishna, thank you so much for giving me this incredible opportunity to speak on the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam this morning. Whenever we discuss Hari Katha, everything becomes so auspicious, isn't it? Right? So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. So before going into the subject matter of the verse today, I want to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam for a minute or so. So this Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapuran is considered to be the topmost literature amongst all the Vaishnava Vedic literatures which are there. It says that if all the Vedic literatures are wishful, desiring tree, then the Srimad Bhagavatam is the fruit, or we can say the condensed essence of all those desiring trees, desiring fulfilling trees. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Mat Manjusha hailed that this Srimad Bhagavatam is the authoritative, spotless authoritative literature. Pramanam Amalam. Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu considers reading and hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam as one of the 5 potent works which we should be doing in order to achieve success in Bhakti Yoga. And nonetheless, the Srimad Bhagavatam is compiled by the literally incarnation of Lord Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna's incarnation, Vyasadeva. When he was frustrated, when he was not satisfied with his works which he performed in the form of division of 4 Vedas, Puranas, Mahabharata, and other histories. So this Srimad Bhagavatam gives satisfaction to its author. So the Srimad Bhagavatam come because it is meant to provide satisfaction, pleasure in the hearts of all the devotees who invest their time, energy in reading it or hearing it every day. Nityam Bhagavata Sevya. So with this, by paying my humble obeisances, hundreds and millions of time to Srimad Bhagavatam, let's just go into Canto 3rd, which we are reading. So as we know, just a little bit of context of this verse. Canto 3rd starts with Vidura leaving palace of Hastinapur after being insulted by Duryodhana. Vidura went on a pilgrimage and there he met on the banks of Yamuna. Whom he met? Who is going to tell me, because we are reading? Vidura met with whom? He met with Udva before Maitreya. So he met with Udva, and first 4 chapters of this canto describes their meeting. So one of the important themes in Srimad Bhagavatam takes care of the feelings of devotees of sadness when it arises when Lord Krishna, their beloved Lord, is not present in front of their eyes. And this mood is depicted by both Uddhava as well as Vidura in first 4 chapters, because they both are in the separation from Lord. But let me tell you, this separation is completely transcendental because it is separation, love in separation from Lord. So whether we are united with Lord or we are feeling love in separation, both the feelings are transcendental. And after asking about the welfare of the relatives of Krishna and as well as also about Krishna, Uddhava became ecstatic and started narrating pastimes which Krishna performed in Vrindavan and also outside of Vrindavan. And this particular chapter, chapter number 4, which we are reading, it starts with the events which led to the destruction of the Yadu dynasty, disappearance of the Yadus. So first couple of verses, 1 to 3 verses, Krishna, 1 to 3 verses, Uddhava explained Vidura that what were the events which happened before then and how Yadu dynasty got annihilated. And in later verses, what is happening after understanding Krishna's motive that now Krishna want to wind up his pastimes, all the demigods headed by Brahma came to Dwarka to request Krishna that now it's the time for you to wind up your pastimes and go back to your Goloka Vrindavan. Krishna never, it's not like that Goloka Vrindavan, the space there got vacated when Krishna was playing or depicting his pastimes. Krishna is always there. But still, they requested Krishna, now in this universe, it's time for you to wrap up your pastimes. Knowing that Uddhava, who is a very dear cousin, as well as a friend, and also a minister or mantreshu, one who used to provide consultations to Krishna, started feeling separation from Krishna. And he requested Krishna, please take me along with you in the spiritual world. Krishna asked him that one of the activities which is still in my mind is to instruct the sages in Badrikashram. So you go and you give my instructions to them. Uddhava followed Krishna from Dwarka to Prabhasa Kshetra, where Krishna is sitting right now under a banyan tree in a very, very beautiful form, which has been explained in previous verses. And at that time, Maitreya Muni, specifically in verse 9th, Maitreya Muni, he just arrived there out of his some pious activities which he earned. Agyata Sukriti. Sometimes we perform transcendental activities without even knowing that these activities can give us transcendental benefit. So because of that, Maitreya Muni just arrived on the place. And this Maitreya Muni, he is a friend of Vyasadeva and he is a disciple of Parashar Muni, who is the father of Veda Vyasa Muni. This Maitreya Muni is described as Mahabhagavat, devotee. That means he is a devotee of Lord. But to make the explanation more clear, what Srila Prabhupada is saying in the purport, I want to make this point before, that this Maitreya Muni, sage Maitreya, is not a pure devotee of Lord. He is a devotee of Lord who is very scholar, a philosopher, knows the philosophy, he knows the truth, he knows the knowledge. But his knowledge is his bhakti or his devotion is mixed with knowledge. He has some monistic points of view too. But he arrived there. And although it has been mentioned that he came there due to some unknown pious activities, because meeting of Lord is not easy. We cannot just walk in Krishna Leela like that. So but he arrived there, and there is a motive behind that too, which is going to be revealed in later chapters. So he arrived there, and both Uddhava and Maitreya Muni are sitting right there. And Krishna started talking to Uddhava. In verse 11th and 12th and 13th, Krishna is talking with Uddhava. And Krishna spoke with Uddhava. Uddhava, you remember? You are the Vasu in the past life. And because of the maturity of your austerity, now I am going to instruct you. I am going to give you those instructions which you are going to impart to sages of Badrikashram. There is a place, Badrikashram in India, which is far off from Dwarka. And it's a pilgrimage which is specifically dedicated for the austerities which are performed, and still with Nar and Narayan Rishi, they are performing austerities there. So Krishna spoke with Uddhava, and he told Uddhava, and I'm going to, this is the maturity, after this birth, you are going to go back to my loka, my planet. Now, this Uddhava, the identity of Uddhava is very important to understand, because that's what the subject matter of today's verse is, today's purport is. Srila Prabhupada said, Uddhava was never actually bewildered. But he says that all these contradictions appear to be bewildering because Maitreya Muni was sitting there. That's why Uddhava is talking about all the contradictions which he can see in the behavior of Lord Krishna. Let's come back to the story. So Krishna, now this Uddhava, he is a eternally liberated soul, eternal associate of the Lord. That means wherever Krishna goes in any universe to perform his activities, Uddhava is always there with Lord. Now the plenary portion, or this eternally liberated Uddhava, we call it Nitya Siddha Bhakta, a plenary portion, just like Krishna expands himself in plenary portions. Nitya Siddha Bhakta also have the ability to expand themselves as incarnations. Not the incarnations, that's not the right word, but they can expand themselves into plenary portions like that. So the plenary expansion or the portion of Uddhava was one of the 8 Vasus of that Kalpa. So Kalpa means different days of Brahma. And Uddhava expanded as a plenary portion as one of the 8 Vasus. And there, because of his swabhava or his natural instinct to worship Lord, he used to worship Lord since the childhood. Now, that Vasu, he is a plenary portion, and he became expert after following the process of bhakti. He became sadhana siddha bhakta. And now that Vasu entered into this Nitya Siddha Bhakta Uddhava. So now this Uddhava, who is sitting with Krishna, he is a eternal associate of the Lord, in whose body the plenary portion is there. Am I clear? Okay. So now this Uddhava, now why Krishna told Uddhava that you are one of the Vasus? In order to hide his confidentiality from Maitreya Muni. Because again, Maitreya Muni is not the pure devotee of the Lord. He is motivated with other desires of knowledge. He is a Jnana Mishra Bhakta. So in order to hide that confidentiality, and all these have given to us in the commentary in our Vaishnava literatures. So now Krishna wanted to hide confidentiality of Udva's real character. And that's why, or Udva's real identity from Maitreya Muni. So Krishna told him that you are one of the Vasus, and then now you are going to get liberated. Because Krishna wanted to show Maitreya Muni that one who perform my bhakti and become sadhana siddha, I mean the process of devotional service, and then get at that level, that person get the opportunity to come back to my loka. Krishna wanted to show or to this to Maitreya Muni. Krishna never explained there that you are my Nitya Siddha Bhakta, but our acharyas, they are giving us this commentary. So that's over the identity. And then later on, when Uddhava heard this, Uddhava got overwhelmed and he started crying. And he started crying, and in those feelings of ecstasy, or we can say overwhelmed emotions, Uddhava started to pray to Krishna. Uddhava started speaking from verse number 14th or 15th. From verse number 14, Uddhava started speaking. Yes, verse number 14, Uddhava started speaking that Krishna, you are so glorious, and I don't want anything except your bhakti, except your service. So that's the attitude of a devotee. I don't want, specifically he said, 4 purusharthas. I'm not going to go into the 4th purusharthas because that's different. So Uddhava, he said that I only want your pure devotional service. That's what Uddhava said. And then in next verse, Uddhava is saying, Krishna, who knows you? There are so many contradictions in your behavior. And 4 contradictions he is mentioning in the verse before that, in 16th, in verse number 16th. First contradiction he said, Ki Krishna, you are Atmaram, you are self-satisfied, but still you are doing fruitive activities. It bewilders us, it's contradiction, because one who is satisfied in himself, he doesn't want anything to do. And Krishna in Bhagavad Gita is also saying that I don't want anything, but still I work. So that's the first contradiction he mentioned in verse 16. Second contradiction he's saying, Krishna, you take birth, although you are unborn, you are aja. You never get birth from the womb of a mother, but it seems like that you are taking birth from a mother. That's a contradiction in you. And the third contradiction, Uddhava is saying, he's saying that you flee out of the fear from your enemies from the battlefield, although you are a fear personified. There is a pastime which I think the speakers before me must have touched upon, that how Krishna just ran away from the battlefield from one of his enemy whose name was Kaliyavana, and then he ran and he just took the shelter of a fort which is called Dwarka. So, and the fourth contradiction Uddhava is saying, now this is very interesting. He's saying that you marry so many queens, so many wives, although you are a celibate, right? You are a renunciate, but you marry so many queens. So there are so many contradictions in you. Now, my dear friends, one thing which I want to mention here. Jai Shri Shri Radha Sharad Bihari Jagannath Baldev Subhadra. These are not contradictions in Krishna, which Uddhava is mentioning. There are several reasons for Krishna performing any kind of pastime. There are visible reasons and invisible reasons. So, from visible reasons to invisible reasons, only a pure devotee of Lord can travel. Our acharyas, our teachers have given us the explanations of each and every contradiction, which seems to be a contradiction, but it is not a contradiction. As Srila Prabhupada is saying, therefore it is better to see them as they are and not attempt to explain them. When the pure devotion gets mature, at that time, devotee understands why Krishna is doing certain things. Because unless we are under the modes of material nature, we have certain kind of experience and our senses are imperfect. We cannot understand why Krishna is doing what. Even small pastime we cannot understand. So these are the contradictions which are mentioned by Uddhava are big ones. Look at this. Till yesterday, we were just, worshipping this pastime the entire month. And there are so many contradictions in this pastime itself. Krishna never gets hungry, but he was hungry in this pastime. Krishna never gets angry, but Krishna got angry from Mother Yashoda. Krishna never cries for anything, but in this pastime, since morning till the late afternoon, Krishna kept crying. This is the day of Diwali. Krishna kept crying. Krishna is running in this pastime out of fear of Mother Yashoda. And Mother Yashoda with her stick running after him. And Krishna is trying to save him. Because Krishna is fear personified. And because of his fear, sun, moon, everything is working. All the planets are rotating in their orbits. And he is getting fearful from the stick of Mother Yashoda. This is a simple, beautiful pastime. We worshipping. Damodar Ashtakam, we sang. You know the meaning of Damodar Ashtakam? If we go into it, it's so deep. So many tattvas are explained by Satyavat Muni in Damodar Leela, Damodar Ashtakam, sorry. Anyways, I don't want to get deviated from this. So that was happening, and Uddhava is praying in these verses to Krishna. And particularly in text 17, which is the subject matter of today, Uddhava said that you are sufficiently knowledgeable. Now Krishna, he says in Bhagavad Gita, Aham sarvasya prabhavu. Everything is emanating from me. Bhagavatam starts with this verse, Janmadi asya yataha. That everything is coming from the absolute truth, starting from there. Now Uddhava here is saying, you know everything, but still you want me for consultations. Mantreshu, mantrana. Mantrana means consultation. You ask me for my consultation. Now let me give you a brief note on this pastime, which is described here by Uddhava, or which is, Uddhava is indicating to in this particular verse. So Krishna was sitting in Dwarka, and this pastime is given in Canto 10th, chapter 70 and 71. Yes, chapter 70 and 71. So Krishna is sitting in Dwarka in his assembly, and Narad Muni arrived. And Narad Muni told Krishna that Pandavas, specifically Maharaj Yudhishthira, he wants to do Rajasuya Yagya. This is a sacrifice which usually kings perform in order to conquer the entire Earth planet. This was the sacrifice which they used to do. Now, Narada Muni told Krishna that Yudhishthir Maharaj want to become the undivided ruler of this earth planet. And in order to achieve that, he wants to perform Rajsuya sacrifice. And after a couple of moments, one messenger came inside, unknown messenger. And he requested Krishna that there is a king, Jarasandha. This is the same king who attacked the city of Mathura for 17 times. And this is the same Jarasandha who was the father of Kamsa, who was the father of Kamsa. And he is very envious from Krishna. Oh, yes, sorry. Kansa's wives. Yeah, Kansa's wives. Sorry, I'm sorry. He is father-in-law of Kamsa. I forgot to add in-laws. Okay, so that's okay. So, yeah. Now this, the messenger said, this Jarasandha, he abducted 20 kings. Sorry, he abducted 20,800 kings from different states who refused to take his refuge, who refused to come under his shelter. He just kidnapped all of them, arrested all of them, and put them in a jail. And what he is planning? He is planning to sacrifice all of them at one particular day to Mother Kali. So they sent me to please help them from the prison. Now Krishna was thinking, what should I do first? Should I go to Hastinapur first and help Maharaj Yudhishthir for this Rajasuya sacrifice? Or should I go first to help these kings to fight with Jarasandha? What should I do? Then Krishna called Uddhava at that time. And that incident Uddhava is remembering here. That you called me for consultation, although you know everything yourself. And then what was the consultation of Uddhava? Chapter 72 says something else. He says that go to Hastinapur first, meet with Maharaj Yudhishthir, and as you know, who can kill Jarasandha? Bhima. So you, along with Bhima, go, and if you go and you just want fight from him, you just, he's not going to fight with you because he doesn't like you. And with Bhima, he has no interest. But if you disguise yourself as Brahmanas and go there, Jarasandha has a great respect for Brahmanas. So when you go and ask in charity, war with him, he will be very happy. And then Bhima can fight with him, wrestle with him, and then in that way, Jarasandha is going to be killed by Bhima. That was the advice given to Krishna by Uddhava. And Krishna said, Uddhava, your advice is so right. And after accepting Uddhava's advice, Krishna went to Hastinapur. And next chapter describes the activities there. So that very pastime, Uddhava is explaining to Krishna here. But Srila Prabhupada, again, he is saying in the purport that the entire conversation was happening because Maitreya was sitting there. Although Krishna, one of the objectives of Krishna was to impart instructions to Uddhava too. And that's called Uddhav Gita, which comes in Canto 11. And if we see Uddhav Gita, that's a detailed version of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna has spoken very similar points in Uddhav Gita, but in very detailed version. to Uddhava. And Uddhava is very, very dear to Krishna. And that's why whatever he did not explain to Arjuna, again, there was time, circumstance at that point too, because they were standing in the battlefield. Krishna explained everything in Uddhav Gita. Uddhav Gita contains, Uddhav Gita makes a big portion of Canto 11 and is a very philosophical discussion between Uddhava and Krishna. So who is the best in giving the knowledge? One who knows everything, from whom everything is coming. He is the source of all knowledge. He is the one who has explained, given Chatushloki Bhagavatam to Brahma. So, Canto 11, Uddhav Gita makes a major portion of that canto. Philosophical discussions. And Krishna is telling stories in that canto. Usually we talk about the stories of Krishna. There Krishna is giving the stories to Uddhava and explaining him the philosophy, the knowledge, the devotional service, bhakti. Very interesting, very philosophical. So Krishna had that aim in his mind to instruct Uddhava and also for Maitreya, who came there out of nowhere, because Krishna wanted to leave some information, not some information. Krishna wanted to leave information for his dear, dear most devotee. Who is that devotee? Vidura. At the end of this chapter, we will see Vidura will ask Uddhava, can you please explain me, give me those instructions which Krishna explained it to you? And Uddhava is going to tell, you are my senior. He was senior by age, Vidura. I cannot give you those instructions. I won't accept that place of spiritual master for you. But Maitreya Muni, Maitreya Rishi, who also got the information about devotional service now, you go and get information from him, not from me. I am going to Badrikashram to fulfill the desire of my beloved Lord Krishna. Because if I do that, that's the success of my bhakti, and that's the reason why Krishna has left me here. You know, first time when I read Bhagavatam and I read this chapter and I read the annihilation of Yadu dynasty, I just closed the book and I did not read Bhagavatam for a couple of days. I was so sad after reading everything. And then one of my friends, we usually give each other, you know, what we are doing, what we are reading. She asked me, okay, what did you read today? I said, nothing. And then again, nothing. And then again, nothing. She's like, why you are not reading? I'm like, I don't want to open the book because, you know, I cannot see devotee, you know, suffering like that. And then I think, you know, and then she said, no, come on, you cannot do that. Keep reading. There will be interesting stuff later on. And then I realized, yes, there is so much, you know. So that's why I started with this, that Srimad Bhagavatam, it gives us the emotions of sadness, of separation from devotees. But I am too immature to understand that those separation, sadness, which those devotees were feeling, they were actually transcendental. True devotion, I mean, completely transcendental. That mood is completely transcendental. It's nothing to be so stressed about the whole situation. Anyways, just my story. That was okay. So yeah, so Uddhava, at the end of this chapter, he's going to tell Vidur, go and take instructions from Maitreya Muni, because he was sitting right there too. I heard it and Maitreya Muni heard it. So what is the invisible reason of Maitreya Muni coming there? Because Krishna wanted to leave the information for his dear most devotee Vidura. And Uddhav told Vidura कि at the time of leaving this world, Krishna was remembering you, Vidura. Can we imagine how important Vidura was for Krishna? That at the time of leaving this planet or this universe, Krishna was remembering Uddhava. Oh, sorry, Vidura. And when Vidura heard this, at the end of this chapter, he started crying so much that Krishna was remembering me, and then Uddhava told him, go and get information from Maitreya Muni, because he was requesting Uddhav to give that information. So why Maitreya Muni was there in the picture was a question mark. When he comes in verse 9, it's a question mark. Why is there? Discussion between, because Maitreya Muni was there for Vidura. And Uddhava left from there to Patrikashram to impart information to the sages there. So the takeaways from this discussion, first of all, pure devotee of Lord can understand the pastimes, the invisible reasons why Krishna is performing what. Rupa Goswami has given us a very clear definition of pure. And this definition is also repeated in Chaitanya Charitamrita also. What's that definition? Anya abhilashita shunyam. Jnana karmadi anavratam. Anukulena krishnanu. Sheelanam bhakti uttam. And our acharyas, they have written a very nice explanation on this verse. They said that this verse has 3 primary characteristics and 3 secondary characteristics. Swarupa Lakshana and Tathastha Lakshana. Anyways, so they are saying the importance, the 3 primary characteristics is Anukulena Krishnanu, Sheelanam. That means continuous service to Krishna which is favorable to him. That's the primary Lakshana. Three categories are there, so I'm not going into that. And the secondary Lakshana is, or the secondary category of this, Anya abhilashita shunyam, without any motivation. So this primary characteristics we always have to do. Anukulena Krishnanu. We have to accept what is favorable in our bhakti. And continuous devotional service that is favorable to Lord. That we always have to do. The secondary portion is going to come with the process, with the practice. And what is the secondary portion? Unmotivated devotional service without any desires. Without any desires, this is going to happen. So the takeaway is pure devotee of the Lord can understand those activities in Krishna which seem to be bewildering from the common man's perspective. Even if we go and tell somebody who doesn't even believe in Krishna, you think he is going to accept that Krishna was he was a cowherd boy, and then he was doing all those pastimes. He was dancing with so many damsels of Raja. They are going to accept Krishna as Lord? No. So that's the process. That's why Srila Prabhupada has given this process to us very carefully. Just start reading from the first chapter, Bhagavad Gita. Take baby steps. And when you become expert, just start running. And then you understand those invisible reasons, which even Maitre Muni cannot understand because he is a Jnana Mishra Bhakta. So that's the takeaway, that our goal is to become the pure devotee of Lord. Knowledge is important, karma is important, but these two things should be subordinate to our pure love to Krishna. They should help us, right? Like subordinates, they should help us, but they should not take the position of a superior. And one of the takeaways for me, specifically, that how Lord reciprocates with his dearmost devotees and how he knows everything, but still, in order to explain every kind of living entity. Although when Krishna was talking, he was looking and smiling. He was looking at Uddhava and smiling also, but he was not giving that much attention to Maitreya Muni, to make him understand that in order to get this position, you have to be a pure bhakta. And by doing this, Krishna not only imparted his instructions to the sages at Badrikashram, but also has given information to his dearmost devotee Vidura. And bulk of Canto 3rd, I think till 15th chapter, there is discussion between Vidura and Maitreya Muni about the whole philosophical thing, the creation of this universe, and then the appearance of Lord Vara we are going to see, the time factor we are going to see, how time originates, and so many other things. I'm not going to spill the beans here. So we have to read. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Again, I'm going to stop. In case I have made any kind of mistake and I deviated from the scriptures, from our acharyas, please forgive me and correct me. And at this time, please, any kind of questions, comments, or anything you want to say, you can say. And I forgot about our dear online devotees. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Let's take questions first from the audience and then we'll go to online.
Yeah. I think Uddhava is a pure devotee. I heard one lecture from from Bhagavad Amrita, that there's different level of devotees, Prahlad, some devotees, and from all those, then to the Gopi, but just below the Gopi, Uddhava, that's his position. He's so dear to Krishna. He's one of the purest devotees of Krishna. And he's a constant companion of Krishna. Actually, he resembles Krishna too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Mataji. Uddhava was a cousin as well as Nitya, as we learned, that Nitya Siddhas Bhakta. And also Uddhava, if we read in Canto 10, Krishna sent Uddhava specifically to Vrindavan to learn that Uddhava was missing. He did not say send anyone else. So that shows. Yeah. And Uddhava was also a Gyan Mishra Bhakta before. I mean, at least in the Leelas. And Krishna wanted to show the world that damsels of Braja, they are the topmost. And yeah. Yes. Yes. Thank you, Mataji. Wonderful.
Scholar also. Uddhava is a great scholar.
All, yeah. He's the disciple of Brihaspati, and I mean, glorification of Udra is immense. Yes.
So, as you can see here, Uddhava is also his cousin, so as Arjuna. Arjuna is also his relative and a dear friend. So, my question is, why did Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna and not to?
So Mataji already, I think, answered this question. She said that there are different levels of devotees. I mean, devotees are also on different levels, even if they are Nityasiddha Bhakta, and that's given in Brihad Bhagavat Amritam. That when Narad Muni is looking for the pure devotee, first answer. And the other thing is, Krishna spoke Udhav Gita to Udhava, which is a detailed version of Bhagavad Gita. If you read Canto 11, where the Uddhav Gita is starting, I am not sure about the exact chapter, but you will find very similar what Krishna is talking with Arjuna. Krishna is explaining to Uddhava, but in a very detailed manner. Krishna is adding stories, Krishna is giving examples, but so many things what Krishna already said to Arjuna, he is explaining to Uddhava. As I said, the mission for Uddhava was to explain and instruct all those sages, the same instruction. And your question is why Krishna did not speak entirely like Uddhav Gita to Arjuna, right? Is that your question?
Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, but this Uddhav Gita is a detailed version of Bhagavad Gita. When I was reading Uddhav Gita, so I was thinking Krishna said the same thing in Bhagavad Gita, same thing, but so many other pluses are there. Major chunk is Uddhav Gita. Krishna is relaxed and Krishna is speaking to Uddhava. There is no battlefield. In fact, Krishna spoke less to Arjuna, more to Uddhava. Very detailed, Prabhu, very detailed version. If you read, you will see, oh, this is the same, but so many things are additions there. That's why I think Srila Prabhupada says this Srimad Bhagavatam is higher study. I think higher study of definitely for Bhagavad Gita.
Thank you. A nice class. I always found this fascinating, how Krishna, he consults with his devotees. And we see this in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, where he actually asks Ramananda Roy and Haridas Thakur, you explain this. And Krishna's actually asking the questions. And so philosophically, we know everything's coming from Krishna anyway. So instead of just telling them, he's asking them and getting to hear it from their perspective, to get them to explain it. Why does Krishna do that?
To give credit to his devotees. Krishna loves to give credit to his devotees. Krishna can fight the entire Kurukshetra war by himself, but he wanted Yudhishthira to take credit. Krishna, in the incarnation of Rama avatar, can kill Ravana like this. He wanted to give credit to Hanuman. Hanuman ji was there in Krishna Leela also, but at that time his role was just minimized just minimized by Krishna. And Krishna told Hanuman ji, you sit on the flag on the top of the chariot of Arjuna. That's your role. And with that, you give strength to Arjuna. So Hanumanji was sitting there quietly. Otherwise Hanumanji had that power that he can make chutney. What is the English word for chutney? He can crush the entire army of Kauravas like this. But he was sitting because these were the instructions of Krishna, in order to give credits to his devotee. Krishna loves to do that. And Krishna loves to hide himself. I'm not doing this. My devotee is doing this. See, Srila Prabhupada has done the ISKCON, because Krishna loves to give credits to his devotee. In fact, this thing Chandramauli Maharaj was telling me, he said, I asked him, Maharaj, if anyone says, oh, you are doing this great, you are doing what should be the attitude? He said, sometimes we say, oh, okay, just pass on to the credits to your teachers and gurus, but in fact, he is the one who is giving us the credit. So if we are passing our credits to them, so that means we are assuming that this is my credit, right? That's why I'm doing this. But the real knowledge is Krishna is giving credits to his devotees. He can do anything. And ultimately, he's the one who is doing everything. Shabda ke paurusham rishu. He is the ability in man. And that he is explaining. Why he is doing this? In order to give credits to his devotees. Because he loves his devotees so much. And that's the conclusion. Krishna loves us, and the only object to whom we should love is Krishna. That's it. Nothing more than that. Hare Krishna.
Let's see if anybody online. Hare Krishna. Anybody online have any questions or comments?
Krishna Mataji, thank you for the class. Very nice class, very enlightening. Krishna.
Okay, if there's nothing online, any questions? Thank you all for joining. Have a wonderful Krishna conscious day, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow morning. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.